From the Hanging Isles to the city-states of Eorzea to the distant land of Terrell via the magic of podcasting, this is episode 54 of A Podcast Reborn, a show celebrating our journey in the past, present, and possible future of Final Fantasy XIV. This episode is being recorded on Monday, June 3rd of 2024. As always, the following podcast may contain mature language and spoilers for the MSQ up through about halfway through patch 6.3. There's a reason for that stopping point, trust me. My name is Brian Black, otherwise known as Ro, and we are 25 days away from Dawn Trail Early Access. With me, as always, are my two lovely co-hosts. First off, our cat mom VTuber and new owner of a theater house in Final Fantasy XIV. Hi, Megan.
Hello. We are the Grand Theater Company, and we're here to perform for you. Basically, we've created, I'm doing this with my friends from high school. We've always been big into RP, they've always been big into D&D, and our free company finally got a house, and I think it lit a fire under them to actually, finish the MSQ. And we have the house, it's mostly furnished. I think we're probably gonna have performances in it in the coming few weeks. We'll see though.
You'll have to tell me when the first one is.
I definitely will. I'm the one writing it, so that's what's really that's going to be fun.
And once you're ready to publicize, I have no problem with dropping ads for it on the show.
Yeah, it's good. We're trying to start small because we've never done this before. Although our house is totally decked out because everybody got really into crafting.
A little bit of advice: don't start with our town. Just saying.
No, absolutely not. I think our first play is going to be the princess and the prince and the dragon, and it's going to be very simple, and everybody's going to be like, what is this for kids? And I'm going to be like, it's my first one. Leave me alone.
Also with us is a man who I'm sure has a Final Fantasy XIV dad joke, and I only pray it doesn't scare off our guest. Hi, Brandon.
Now, come on. Have I ever told a joke so bad it scared someone? Honestly.
Yes.
Okay, I want to find out more about that later. But did you guys hear that ever since Astinian joined the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, Ishgard has had to strip him of the title of Azure Dragoon?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he didn't really mind, though. He was ready to be a freelancer.
Nice. The sound effects did not come from my soundboard. They actually came from the soundboard of our very special guest, also with us from somewhere in Florida. I'm very happy to welcome a content creator whom I've known for years when we were both podcasting about games from Blizzard Entertainment. A little over 2 months ago, he walked the end and finished 6.0, and just moments ago, he finished Lapis Manalis for the first time. And he and his partner in crime, Kyle Fergusson, are closing in on being current with the rest of us. He's one half of the Grinding Gear YouTube channel, and I will never forget that his name is spelled with 2 R's and 2 T's. Garrett Weinzierl, welcome to the show, man.
This soundboard is fully armed and operational.
I am afraid.
Thanks for having me.
I've been wanting to talk to you and just talk about random bullshit in Final Fantasy XIV since you guys started doing this thing with Grinding Gear. It's funny because one of my best friends in the game, Zim, she actually plays on the same server that the FC is on Coral, and yet
nice.
It was just kind of happenstance. I'm on Diablos myself, so I've hopped over into Coral a few times to see some of your shenanigans, and when you've been doing the MSQ, my character's been around kind of lurking and stuff, and it's been a fun time watching you guys.
It's been fun just reconnecting with folks from the Blizzard sphere, as they all, it seems like, inevitably end up over here.
Quite a few of them have. I mean, there's some that have definitely gone back to WoW, and there's some who kind of have their hands in different pots. I don't even know what kind of analogy I'm trying to make there. But it's been an interesting journey, just realizing that, hey, there is more than one game that I can play and have fun and enjoy and come back to. And with Final Fantasy XIV, it's nice to have a place I feel that I can call home and yet I don't feel like I'm trapped there in a daily grind, that I can basically come and go as I please. And I feel like, I mean, for you and Kyle, I guess it's a little different in that, like you guys are creating content which is focused on this on, a regular basis. But how do you feel Final Fantasy XIV, at least from your point of view, is different from your experience with WoW?
It's hard because my experience with WoW has meant different things to me throughout the history of that game. Vanilla, I was terrible. I was just learning the game. I made it to like level 42 as a hunter before I learned I could train my pet, for example. Just to give you an example of how much I didn't know what I was doing at the time. And then BC started a raid in Wrath of the Lich King. I led a raid, and then I was also in a raid, and then I eventually started leading pug raids because I raided so much in Wrath that I just knew those raids like the back of my hand. Loved that expansion. It was like my favorite thing. I lived for it. And then I took a massive break in Cataclysm, played off and on up through Legion, and then kind of fell off. So I've been a raider and I've not been a raider in WoW. I guess it's the two buckets I would throw that relationship into. And I don't know what to categorize myself as a player of Final Fantasy XIV now, because the game can be so many things to so many different people for so many different reasons.
For sure.
I mean, just Megan, you talking about getting a Playhouse. I'm like, wait, hold on. I got to think about this for a sec. We're not talking about Pee-wees here. And so, yeah, for me, right, I would just call myself, if I handed you a business card that explained my role in Final Fantasy XIV, it would just be Garrett, enjoyer of Final Fantasy XIV. That's just kind of where I'm at with it
resident.
Right now. Yeah, resident, exactly. Citizen of Eorzea.
I've got it for you, Garrett. Garrett Weinzierl, Warrior of Light.
There you go. Yeah, I've been trying to push this on my friends. I have not successfully convinced anyone.
It's so hard, man. It took me years to get my friends to play with me. Like, I don't know what. I think they just got burned by WoW so bad that they were like, no, it's got MMO in front of it? Hell no. I was like, oh, but how else will we play together?
Yeah, when my friends press me a little bit, when they seem intrigued and they're like, okay, well, like, what's it like? You're talking about, usually I lead with, depending on who they are, I either lead with trying to convince them that, hey, the story is really good. I think you'll enjoy it. Or what I think more people should do is I talk to them about how just dope the boss fights are. So if I'm talking to like my old raid buddies or anything like that,
yeah.
I'm like, just get to a high enough level that you can try an extreme. It's so good. Because no one told me, no one talked to me, no one said a word to me about the quality of the fights in this game when they were trying to get me to play it.
The rates is the way that rating works in Final Fantasy XIV, I believe, is way better than WoW was. But I also just like WoW has degenerated into just getting your friggin' deadly boss mods screaming in your face, and like, I don't know. I really love Final Fantasy rating, how it's like learning a dance, and you kind of learn it step by step. Going like that. Honestly, most of the time, well, we'll watch a video. We will watch my rating team. We will watch a video, but then we'll just kind of progress.
It's like, yeah, I describe the way that they like remix mechanics is. It's like cooking. It's like there's
yeah.
We have kind of figured out all the potential ingredients on the planet Earth to make food with. But we still come up with new and unique ways to make food and to cook and to bake and to grill and to etc. And that's how I feel about the philosophy of fight design in Final Fantasy XIV is that, yeah, at a certain point, inevitably they'll come out with a new mechanic that will surprise you. But at a certain point in a game, in the game's life cycle, if you've done everything, you will have seen all of the mechanics, but it still trips you up because there's the way that they reuse it or reinterpret it. It can make it a truly bananas challenge.
I know from just kind of personal experience and watching you and Kyle play in your journey through Shadowbringers, especially that a certain fight with Hades is definitely ranks high for you.
Yes, yeah, Hades Extreme. A couple of fights have broken my brain. I have a triptych right now of fights that give me waking nightmares. And it's Shinryu, it's Tsukiyomi, and it's Hades, and the extreme variant of all of those.
Oh man!
Probably would also honestly give a hat tip to Thordan. That fight kicked my ass. But yeah, like, and so this praise of the fights coming from me are only coming from a person who's only cleared a significant number of extremes on midnight level difficulty, and we went in blind, so we kind of figured it out as we went. I have not scratched the surface of Savage or Ultimate, which much to the I hope it's excitement, but possibly chagrin of our stream viewers. Because they definitely want us to do it, but we're also like, we're on good pace for Dawn Trail, and we're just kind of vibing in our lane. We're having a good time. At some point, we're going to get to Savage and Ultimate. But yeah, the Hades Extreme was ridiculous. There's like a fan out mechanic toward the end of that fight that stopped us dead in our tracks for like over an hour. And I think it's in the last like 15% of the fight. So every time you screw it up, you got to start back from square one.
No. Yep.
That's the big thing. Oh my God. With my raid team last year, we had, it's like, they always do like a 2-phase boss fight for the last boss of a raid. And like just getting to if you just get to the second thing, or like you're about to get to the thing and then you die, that is the absolute worst, because then it's like you got to start all the way over from the beginning of phase 1. But
Warrior of Light sends his regards when it comes to that.
Oh. So
man,
now I'm thinking I've maybe been approaching this the wrong way. I don't do extremes. I don't do Savage. I don't really do any of that. I'm a very casual Final Fantasy XIV player. I tried so hard to get my wife to join me in playing this game, and she ended up going back to Dragonflight, and now she's doing heroic raids and pushing high mythic plus keys. Maybe I've been approaching it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to
angle the Savage and Extremes in front of her.
Yeah, maybe I need to get her on the show so you guys can talk to her about the Savage's Extreme, because I got no experience.
Hell yeah.
Just clip this part and send it. There you go. There you go.
Right.
There's your. Yeah, it doesn't sound like you've been doing it wrong for yourself, because enjoy, but maybe a different tactic on the selling it side of things.
Speaking of Hades, I now need to shift gears because I feel like I'm obligated to ask this question. You appreciate Emmett Selk a fair bit, as I know. I have to ask, especially because I'm curious in getting a small preview, possibly, of your Wall of Husbandos video, since you have hit 35,000 subscribers. I'm going to throw you a curveball, though. Who rates the closest to Emmett Selk amongst your ranking of Husbandos?
What's a Wall of Husbandos?
So when we do a tier list, we call it the Wall.
Oh, okay.
Kyle and I are both old Top Gear fans, and we love when they did the Wall of Cool. So our tier lists are they're horizontal instead of vertically. They're columns. They're not rows. And,
you need to watch the Wall of Waifus episode.
No, you don't. No, I've never received more threats in my life. Fandoms have lost the ability to have fun with this stuff.
So Garrett,
we know about the waifu wars on this podcast.
Oh my god!
We have for 2 years running done a waifu and husbando tournament, and it has inevitably devolved into me and Megan screaming at each other.
Yes.
Okay.
I love it.
Delightful. That is a great question, Ro, and I do not have an immediate answer. I don't know who I would rank as the next highest husbando. My gut. Oh god, my gut is Hien.
That's a good choice.
Hien is wildly underrated, included by, and I include literally anyone who's ever touched writing a story after Stormblood. They literally forgot he existed.
True.
Unfortunately accurate.
Yeah, he does not get enough freaking love. And I think that character is absolutely amazing.
Isn't he? Well, I guess you mostly hang out with Yukiri. I was going to say he's in the aiming quest.
He's in the physical range role quest in Endwalker.
Yeah.
But aside from that, he has not shown up in a very long time.
And it's like, maybe they can't get the voice actor back. I don't know. He has a really good voice actor.
He's a screen actor as well, because he's the lead in that amazing, sadly now canceled HBO show Warrior. That actor is also that's the voice of Hien. He's freaking awesome. Andrew Koji is his real name, and he's an incredible actor and a great stage fighter as well. The choreography in that show is insane.
Now he's got the time.
Yeah, well, that was kind of the thought, right? Yeah. We haven't done the role quest yet. That probably explains some of the impatience. That sounds too judgmental.
To anyone in the grinding gear community listening to this episode, I have briefed my co-hosts on mostly what Garrett and Kyle have done and not done. We are doing our damnedest to avoid spoilers at all costs. I'm sorry we just spoiled that Ian may be in the physical range DPS quest.
But you're going to Doma. Who else would be there?
Can I just say that I don't care, because that means it's not voice acted, because it's a role quest. Which means that even they making the game feel like it's second fiddle, and that doesn't excite me enough to go play it. That's that. You might as well tell me, oh, but there's a side story about Hien on the website. I'm also never going to go read that. So because I played WoW and I read those books, and they cared about their existence maybe once every 8 times. So I'm not putting that effort into games ever again. If they want me to care about their lore, they will put their lore in the main part of the story.
I'm now triggered. I used to love those books.
I was going to say, you say that, and yet recently you completed, in my opinion, the best side quest in Endwalker with the Omega follow-up.
Yes, I mean, eventually I'm going to do the role quest, but I will say, knowing a character I love is in one of them, it would pretty much have to be Emmett Selk, because if I hear role quest, I hear like B team cutscene direction and no voice acting, and that just sorry, but it is lower on my hype meter because of that.
Do you want to know what the only book that Final Fantasy XIV has put out? It is a high school AU manga.
Oh, I'm very aware of that. Yes. Yes, I'm very aware of the fact that Yashola is known as mommy amongst the students. Chat we basically told chat, like, go nuts, spoil the manga all you want. Maybe I'll pick it up at some point. By the time I get there, I'll have completely forgotten all of the jokes you've told me from this series. We're very aware of that. Excuse me, there's also a Final Fantasy XIV cookbook.
The cookbook.
Full of very deep lore. In case you were wondering, the potions, complete alcohol. They're just a bunch of alcohol. Yeah. That's how they heal you in Final Fantasy XIV, if the cookbook is canon.
Accurate.
I mean, we're running off of ether, so maybe it's like spirits.
There you go. That's what they meant from The Spirits Within. That movie was actually an allegory for alcoholism.
Oh God,
well, it felt that way, that's for sure.
So that's it. And you're not getting healed by your Final Fantasy potions. You're just taking the edge off.
Real freaking drunk.
You're getting drunk, and then you don't care.
I have to ask, is it while you were drunk, and this is not an insult, but is it while you were drunk that you came up with the name Tuna No Crust?
Oh God, no, not at all.
No. What?
His character's name is Tuna No Crust.
Oh my God, are you a Lullafil?
No, Jesus, no! I never play short races. I will die before I play a short race in an MMO. It's never going to happen.
Absolutely based.
I can't do it. I tried goblins for like a hot second of World of Warcraft because I love gremlins, and I'm still like, nah, I can't. No, this armor looks too cool to be this squished.
I mean, my characters are a max height Highlander Hure, a max height male El Ra, and a max height female Rogadit. I am with you.
My brother. Let's go.
I'm just swimming in cat girls. A few bunny girls. I always have to play a girl if I could play a girl. It's just like ingrained in me now after so many years gaming.
They have the best two-handed sword idol stance.
Oh yeah,
I'm so jealous of it. It looks so cool. We did, for one of the near wings, we Fanta'd both our Warrior of Lights Originally we're like, let's just do gender bend, and Kyle stayed true and stayed Ellison, but I was like, I'm taking this as an excuse to make a Miko. And I was just like, damn it, this Dark Knights, like girl Miko Dark Knights look so cool with their sword when they start idling.
Yeah. The like stick it on the ground and like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're not a fan of the Cloud Strife. Swing a sword around and carry it on your shoulder, somehow not bisecting yourself.
I mean, I also like that. Sword over the shoulder is also cool. But
I will say, males get a cooler samurai idol. Females just kind of like hold it, but males do a little like swish, 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 and like set it like kind of aside, and it looks cool. Like I'm ready for battle, and the girls are just like, I have a knife. It's big. Okay.
Big knives are great. By the way, it just hit me that while I was running through everyone in my head, Graha is probably the correct answer for second place husband dog.
Objectively, yes, he is.
No, not objectively. Objection. No.
Canonically, objectively, proven by logic and science.
We were recently having a conversation in our Discord. This was like, so this is not committed anywhere other than text. You'd have to search our Discord to find it. But we were talking, someone in our Discord asked me, or maybe it was on Twitter, I don't remember. Did a bunch of AMAs recently. Like, what the one thing you truly think they'll never add to the game, but you'd love for them to add to the game anyway, would be. And I said BioWare dialogue wheels with romance options.
Oh wow.
And then immediately someone followed up with, okay, well, who would you romance? And my answer was, I'd probably aim for Y'shtola, but I'd probably end up romancing Graha because I would not be able to be mean to him. I think I would physically be incapable of choosing any options in a hypothetical world where dialogue wheels exist in Final Fantasy XIV and actually not just be as kind to Graha as humanly possible.
See, I would go for the harem ending. You gotta go full out. Max hearts with everyone. And then, or maybe it's like Stardew where you date everyone and then you have a scene where like you come into the friggin' Rising Stones and all those scions are sitting there staring at you. And they're like, you didn't think we'd figure out you were dating all of us, did you?
There is a scene like that in a game I've played as well that's pretty popular, but I'm not going to say which game it is because I think it's one that Garrett and Kyle may play at some point.
Ah, nice. Lovely.
Well, a harem ending is never a spoiler. It's a goal.
Put that on a shirt.
The harem ending is a goal. Is that our episode title, Ro?
You know what? It's a pretty good candidate.
All right.
You're not wrong.
So is that what happens in 6.5? Thanks for the spoiler, guys. Jesus.
Yeah, it's the date expansion. You gotta figure out what presents they all like. You gotta make them their correct coffee order.
I have the ending where I yeet Graha into the ocean.
Why? Okay, all right, Brandon.
So
why don't you like Graha?
He also doesn't like Emmett, by the way, just so you know.
Okay. Hey, Brandon, who hurt you?
Villains hurt me. I hate them all. They must die.
Okay, well, Graha's not a villain.
No, Graha Tia is mostly just overblown me rejecting the community's default boyfriend choice. I don't care for him as much as literally everyone else seems to. I don't really know why that is. I just don't like him all that much.
I will say my interest in Graha has fallen off post Rads at Hand.
Really?
Yes. He kind of just feels like another member of the Scions as opposed to the leader of an entire civilization that faced down an apocalypse.
Well, but that's what he wanted. Like,
I know.
LARPing.
But it's also, I think, makes him objectively less interesting.
Okay, well, I'm not allowed to say spoilers.
Garrett, just to give you an idea.
See where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
Just to give you an idea, my number one entry into the Husbando tournament we've had the past 2 years has always been Amaric. So if that gives you any kind of an idea as to my taste, there you go.
It is a crying shame that Kyle is not here with me tonight because he would just like high five you through the internet.
I accept it. Wah.
Yeah.
Graha and Y'shtola are like the mascot boy, husbando and waifu. And I love both of them, definitely. But like there are some much spicier takes to have, and I applaud anybody who does. But also, you can't beat cat ear people, okay? You can't do it.
And that's the weird thing. I love you stole it to death.
If Graha threatened to spank you, would you like him better?
No, I'd actually be really weirded out and be like, all right, who replaced Graha?
That would be horribly out of character for.
I bet like someone
Graha would be the one getting spanked, honestly.
I bet like it's like, oh god, who would dare him to do this? It's like Alize tells him that like that's what the Warrior of Light wants is like,
and like Thancred would just be egging him on.
Yeah.
You want the wall to take you out on a real adventure? This is what you got to do. This is how you unlock the optional dialogue with the Warrior of Light.
And he's like trying to say it, but he like can't get it out.
I would immediately pull out my weapon and be like, all right, which one of you Asians has possessed him now? I thought we were done with y'all.
I just want to see Alize take Graha to the mall for a makeover to help him catch the Warrior of Light's eye. Because clearly... But she sabotages it because she has a crush on the Warrior of Light too.
Maybe there's a mall in Solution 9. Who knows?
Who knows?
It's funny you mentioned with Graha, like, kind of feeling like he's just a sign right now. It's a kind of somewhat ties into one of the things I wanted to ask you as far as, like, looking into just Dawn Trail and characters that we're going to spend time with, like, outside of the current Scions. So, like, as far as characters that we haven't been with too much in Endwalker and stuff, are there any that you wish you could spend significantly more time with? I kind of wonder if Heian's high on that list.
Heian is super high on the list, and this means I'm going to, once this goes live, I'll probably come back to a bunch of DMs about, for the love of God, play Roll Quest, you monster. What's wrong with you? But other than that, like, really, there's just two dead characters that come to mind, which is Moonbrita and Ysayle, who not even like waifu, not even coming to this from a waifu angle. Like, I just thought those were two brilliantly written characters. And Moonbrita, like, I kind of think almost single-handedly saves A Realm Reborn from being horribly dull.
I really wish we got to hang out with her more, and I really wish we got to see her torment Urianger more. Like,
yes, yeah, they had such a good chemistry.
I would read. Don't quote me on this, Square, but I would totally read like a background story of like their days at school with her, like forcing him to come out and play and all that stuff. That was, and it was like, and it made sense so quickly. Like, oh yeah, he is a huge fucking nerd. Thank God you were there. Because up until, and also it really humanized Urianger, because up until that point he was just like this fucking weirdo hanging out in the waking sands, speaking at you. Like,
I hated him in A Realm Reborn. Yeah. I could not stand him, and I love him now.
And like, and then Moonbrita comes in, and you're like, oh, he has like a whole other like personality, has like a whole backstory. He has like people who actually like him, and I like her, and she likes him, so maybe he's not so bad.
Yeah. And as I near the end too, the other top of my list and not dead is Lise, who I feel they've just like ignore the existence. They did all this work. They give her a whole expansion and a half of character development. They finally developed the character, and then they stop using the character.
Yeah,
she is such a polarizing character amongst the community. There are people who are like either hate Lise or love Lise after her change into her.
Yeah, well, listen, we all hate the Crystal Tower, and they just won't stop writing it into everything. So find your backbone, Square, because clearly you'll ignore us when it's your own, personal OC that you can't get enough of, which is basically, I mean, Grahati is just the Crystal Tower as a character, so that's why they just keep inserting him and everything. So, like, yeah, I mean, I loved Stormblood, and Stormblood, I think it's too much hate as well.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I think it's just like, actually, I just played through Heaven's Ward, and now I'm starting Stormblood again, and I'm like, wait, Stormblood's more fun. Like,
See?
I remember.
I've been
I
trying to
remember
tell you this for the entirety of the time we've done this show.
It starts. It's Susano. Everything before Susano really does kind of suck and drags like crazy.
The beginning in Alamigo kind of sucks, I will admit, but we just got to Anime Japan, so I'm very excited about that.
Mm,
And
yeah.
well, the thing with Elise is that if you really liked Ida, it's kind of weird to have her like take off her mask and then be like, "Hi, I now have a completely different personality." And I'm like, "What? Our whole relationship was LARP?"
See, here's the thing. For me, it's always been a case of Ida was so annoying because she was always trying to sound smart and failing miserably at it. And now, there's a reason for that. Okay, this makes way more sense now.
I like peppy girls, all right? She was always doing squats, just kicking people in the face. Well, I guess she still does that, but
She has her big monk pop-off fight scene in Stormblood, and it's amazing.
it's like, at least I understand that you're going through generational trauma and you're having like a refugee's dilemma and all this shit, but could you just like perk up a little? Come on, that's so much to ask.
All right, now, and if they brought her back and she was like more of a mainstay, do you have all the room for that? Because she's no longer like fighting tooth and nail to restore her homeland.
They seem to be using Sadu and Serena when they bring characters back from Stormblood instead of Lise. And it's like, yeah, I know you're supposedly running a whole country, but like, isn't Raub on there too? Can't you just be like, I'm going on a day trip?
There is no room for anyone with how much of Nanamo is all over this game. It's just has pushed out all of the other world leaders as characters.
Okay, but she's the best, though.
It is a crime that there is not more Moral Web in the game.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's all I came here to say was more Merle Webb. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No, she's my favorite of the leaders, like hands down.
Nanamo is the most moe. I have the feeling of must protect. That precious smile, that cute little face. Merle Webb, I want to climb her like a tree. She can fight me if she wants, but she's not going to win. I'm kidding. Okay, she can shoot me. All right.
What if I want her to win?
As a tree? Yeah.
What if my goal is losing?
That's good too. We can play Reavers. Okay, we can play Reavers and peasant folk.
Okay.
She can come pillage my port.
Okay.
What was I invited to?
I warned you, man. I warned you.
You mentioned. You made light note. You made a notation.
This is pretty much what almost every episode ends up devolving into.
Okay, never mind. This is like when I'm all I'm doing is talking to Kyle, and when we've been streaming for more than 6 hours. Okay, cool. That's
pretty
energy.
Pretty much. Energy. So you got yourself in the right zone for this.
All right, wonderful. We want to lose to Merleweb. Okay, what's next? Does anyone want to get speared by Estinian? How many wordplay based on weapons?
How many double entendres can we do?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, with a dragoon, it's just like it's too easy. Like they have Vorpal thrust for fuck's sake. Like they're all about thrusting and jumping and stabbing things. No, it's too easy.
It is low hanging fruit.
I honestly believe Estinian doesn't know what sex is.
That's almost an episode title there too.
Look, listen to me. He got orphaned at a very young age and he went like straight into like the military. And do you think that they're like handing out pamphlets of like, this is what sex is, this is how you make babies? And he was like, I will never be married. I will die in the pursuit of a Nidhogg. Do you think he ever like asked? No, absolutely not. He did not.
In Heaven's Word, yeah, if you had told me that character took a vow of celibacy, I would believe you.
I think that like he just never like he had a vow, or he didn't even have a vow of celibacy. He was just like, I'm never getting married, I'm never having a family. And then like as time has gone on, he's never like thought to ask about stuff or like have a romantic relationship. He's just running around in the woods being smelly and stabbing things. And
wait, is that what Dontrail's gonna be? Estinian finds love?
Oh my god, how Estinian got his groove back?
He's basically Batman, so they just need to give him his Catwoman.
Oh my god.
Let's not forget that Estinian wears full plate armor and he's going to a very humid jungle.
Estinian's spear is covered in dragon blood still. It's mentioned by Vritra. He's running around in full, like, this armor protects me from the northern chill armor at all times. He is smelly as fuck.
It's the Master Chief problem.
He's not as smelly as he was at the end of Heaven's Word when he didn't wash off Nidhogg's blood for like 4 weeks, but he doesn't bathe, man. Also, I don't know. I just feel like he's either like Ace or he doesn't know what sex is. And like, maybe he is Ace and doesn't know what sex is, and then if someone tells him, he would be like, oh, okay. No, I'm good, thanks. No, thank you. Like, that sounds like a distraction.
Going from one weird moment to another, here's kind of a weird question I want to ask you about. Like, you've been on other interviews and stuff, and they said, like, what have been your favorite moments of the MSQ and such. I don't want to necessarily know what your favorite one was. I want to know what for you was the strangest moment for you in game as far as like any story or questing that you've done.
No Hildebrand, that's cheating.
I've only done Realm Reborn, so I haven't done that much Hildebrand. Strangest. I'm not sure.
What about just like strongest reaction?
Well, that was mostly hype, which would have been the end of 5.0 for me. That just was insane.
The Loporrit reaction was interesting.
Oh my god!
I didn't mind the Loporrits, and I guess apparently we have a spoiler chat I'm not allowed in our own Discord where folks that want to talk openly about spoilers while we stream, they can do so. And I guess in there was a lot of consternation that I would hate the Loporrits because I couldn't stand. Who are those freaks in Shadowbringers?
Namazu?
No. That was Stormblood. I love the Namatsu. They're great.
The dwarves in Shadowbringers?
No, the dwarves were cool.
Are you talking about the Kobold
fairies?
analogs, the Mord?
The fairy, the fae.
Who is Beck Lug? What's that race?
Oh, they're the new Mo.
Yeah,
the new Mao. I hate the new Mao.
But they're so
I like the design. Anything, I guess that is like a 12/evolution/tactics design.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't grow up with Final Fantasy, so a lot of this I've learned as I go. Played a lot of Kingdom Hearts though, so I can get down with that. But I love the design. No, to me, as much as I adore Shadowbringers, and I think it is essentially a perfect game. That section of Ilmeg drags on one side story too far, and that one side story too far is the new Mao. And I was just like, okay, we could have condensed this, y'all. We didn't need this budget Yoda speak tribe to show up and elongate this experience.
Look,
still objectively better than the quarry, though.
Better than the fucking Gobby speak. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, I am a number one Alexander hater. That story is bogus. I like there's so much people love Alexander. I get it. You love the music. You love the music of Alexander. That's what you love. You do not love the story. The story is complete nonsense.
I love the music. That was actually the first raid I did in Final Fantasy, so that's very nostalgic for me. But it's definitely 10,000% the music and like 50% the cool ass gears and shit.
Yeah, bro. If you had invited me and told me that you were just going to invite me to set myself on fire with hot takes, I would have said no.
This is basically Hot Takes the podcast.
I feel like I wasn't aptly warned about this. Yeah,
it's okay, Garrett. I'm with you on the Alexander story.
It's all destroyed by all the Alexander fans.
At least we're doing hot takes and not hear me outs. Because if I ask who your hear me out husbando is, that might spark some things.
I'm not sure I have one. The first thought was Hoary Boulder, but I think a lot of people would agree with me.
He is very hoary. My hear me out husbando is apparently Vritra, not the alcohol version.
Oh wait, are we talking Vritra or Talshan?
No, Vritra.
Okay, I mean, hey, if you got a things for dragons, like, who am I to judge?
Just call me Shiva 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Shiva 2, Vritra Boogaloo, more like.
Hot damn.
So do you have a hear me out husbando or waifu?
Nothing that immediately comes to mind.
He's not about to immolate himself.
I think he's too afraid of the repercussions.
No, I think I can find something redeeming in everybody. Like you could I've yet to see a hear me out where I'm like, oh my god, how could, like, of course, like I saw a hear me out Xenos. I'm like, yeah, he's gorgeous and he's got a dump truck for days. Why wouldn't you be into that?
Well, the dump truck isn't real, unfortunately. He does have big titties, though.
That is fair. That is very fair.
Brandon hates Xenos so much, so I always put him in the husbando.
I am so anti-villain shipping, just in general. And
you can change him.
I did. I ended his life.
Just explain to him what sex is. He could get
Villains need love too. Villains need love too.
Yeah, man. Get into some dark romance.
Villains have feelings. That's how they became villains.
I'm still like, if you can't get behind like Emmett Silk as a villain, if you can't like him or at least understand why he's like cool and attractive, then I don't think you'll ever, like, no villain will ever be developed enough for you to like, you're like, he was mean to me one time in 5th grade and now I hate his ass forever. I'm like, oh my god. It's called an arc. Starts one place and then it goes to another. Lessons are learned. Things of value. Bonds are forged.
Did you just say bonds?
I said bonds are forged.
She said bonds.
Okay.
I mean, Xenos would charge his bong with etherite, so I mean, it'd be
my god! If Xenos would just hit a bong, a lot of the world's problems would not have happened.
That guy seems pretty stoned most of the time to me. Have you listened to him talk?
Well, no, he's so lively during Stormblood. Oh my god, when you first, like, if you're used to him from Endwalker, and then you go back and you play Stormblood, you're like, who the fuck is this? He's like so chatty and he's like smiling and he's so depressed after he gets
I mean, to be fair,
that is his arc. He gets depressed.
I think talking to Fandaniel would make anyone depressed.
Oh god, it's true. Like, he's just sitting in a throne and he's got this little fucking goober.
I'm sure someone has done a hear me out on Fandaniel, but
whoa, wait, there you go. There is no way there's a hear me out on Asahi.
Yeah,
there's no way.
Asahi Fandaniel?
There's probably like 3 people out there who really like bowl cuts.
Oh god.
And that's it. That's the depth of their hear me out. Is just this haircut is my shit.
I love that they knew that we all hated Asahi so much that when Fandaniel showed up wearing his face, we would all be like, this fucking guy, this motherfucker. Like, we would hate him. It was on sight.
Oh, I was really, like, legitimately, I was worried I was going to hate Endwalker because of Fandaniel. Because when they rolled him out and he was just
prancing around the fucking cutscene in the loading
doing his
screen,
best
like
Joker impression, just being like an obnoxious theater kid.
I love that it is like actually annoying and not like charismatic or anything, so we don't have the fucking weirdo people coming out like, he just like me for real. It's like, no, this is what, when you think you're being like the Joker, this is what you're actually being like, okay? This is not good for anyone.
To me, it felt like the way they portrayed Fandaniel, like at the tail end of Stormblood going into Endwalker, was kind of their subtle nod to a Kefka-like character from Final Fantasy VI. Like, I mean, I feel like Kefka did it better, but I think that, just the crazy nihilistic, I don't care. I want everyone to die, and I'm going to do it laughing.
I love a campy villain, for real, and I think that it was great, and it was also so funny that they then made us go back in time and be like, that little prancy butler clown motherfucker? Yeah, here he is as the most beautiful depressed boy you have ever seen. And I'm like, yeah, what happened?
Yeah, in retrospect, I think it was absolutely the right choice because it gave the character somewhere to go with what I'm assuming is the backstory they knew that they were going to unfold as a mystery over the course of Endwalker. Also, it made him just like so completely ass different from Emmett. Emmett was smart and charming, and fun to be around. And every time Daniel's on screen, I just want to crawl out of my own skin.
Yeah. But also, that really works for like a maniac who wants to destroy the entire world. It's like, he shouldn't be charming.
There's been a lot of times over my course of playing this game where I recognize a trope and I get worried because I feel like it's a trope I've seen a bunch of times. And yeah, like the maniac trope, like I think is something I tend to shy away from. But the other thing that has happened over the course of 14 when I kind of call that out is 9 times out of 10, they do it in a way I really like and I really appreciate.
I will just say the whole Zodiac reveal, I was so flabbergasted, especially when Fandaniel was just like, yeah, good job, guys. Okay, bye. I'm jumping off this cliff. I'm gonna go kill myself. I was like, what? For real?
There's so many great surprises in Endwalker. That might be my top moment because it was just so. I'm like, wait, what? We're only 3 levels into this expansion. What the hell is happening?
I think that got everybody. I mean, like how that is the definite like welcome to Endwalker moment for me. Is just here, Zodiac's the final boss. Not
the only thing that would have made it better is if they had actually held the title card until after that moment. Like I legitimately think they should have done an Endwalker title drop at that point.
Now that is a hot take, and I honestly like it. Yeah, that would have been amazing to see.
I respect I know what I have, and I think they knew what they had with that moment. So I think, yeah, just windmill slamming the logo there would have been sick.
Sorry.
As one other question that I wanted to ask, is we're kind of getting a little close to time, but we can go a little over an hour if we do. One thing that has been big for me, and I mean, it's almost talked about when you talk to anyone about Final Fantasy XIV, is definitely community, your FC, your friends, people you hang out with and stuff like that. I think just as important as MSQ moments and big things that happen in the MSQ, I think, time spent with the FC can be just as big a deal. So for you, I know that the FC has done a number of different events. They've changed the look of that house like a billion times. What would you feel are one of the most memorable moments that you've had, like the most fun with your FC?
They have now conducted their 2nd annual fair. They did the first one last year, and Kat, our decorator, is absolutely incredible. Massive shout out to Kat. But for the first one, redid it to where and again did it this time where the front of the FC looks like a marketplace, and like they sell items and do raffles for stuff that are made by members of our FC. Kyle, who isn't even a particularly like high level, is a weaver. Who makes cloth stuff? I don't do. Weaver. I haven't. I'm still so afraid of professions from how burnout I was in World of Warcraft. I barely touched the surface. I love fishing. Fishing is fantastic.
I just hit level 90 in all crafting jobs a few days ago.
Do you have
congratulations?
Do you have aquariums in your room?
Yep.
I'm like really obsessed with right now on the character I'm playing. I have we just got our free company house, so we just set up my room, and I'm like, my character's really into fishing, and there's aquariums everywhere, and as many as I could fit. I'm very obsessed with fish. Ocean fishing, man, it's so fun.
It's a good time. We've done I think we've done 3 streams just dedicated to fishing. And they're just a good time, and it's fun because a lot of people can join in. A lot of people can get on the boat when you go ocean fishing. But yeah, I'd say probably there's been so many, but probably the fair. I went to the first fair last year. Sadly, I was out of town during the one this year, so I wasn't able to attend. But last year when I attended the fair, they had invited a band. And I show up and I walk to the front yard and the band's performing. And I've seen bands in Final Fantasy XIV a handful of times. The first year I was playing this game, I went to LunarCon, so like it's not a new concept for me. But clearly they were aware of my tastes because in Final Fantasy in the game, all these bards they start playing an arrangement of the Black Parade from My Chemical Romance. I was like, this is the coolest shit ever, and it was clear it was not a coincidence. They clearly saw that I'd arrived and just started playing, and I'm like, man, I've just never had a community like this in a game. Like it was bonkers. And after that, they played some Green Day, and I just had a great time. It was a good time.
I'll say the fact they gave us playable instruments is possibly the coolest fucking thing.
And they keep adding new instruments to it.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so great. And it's when you're streaming and you come into an Aetheryte Plaza and you're like, copyright music, oh, like you gotta sprint out of there. But other than that, it's fantastic. And it's what's when my main character, I mained Bard for a long time on my main character, and I also have a character in my, what are they called, the little army unit that you're running for your green company. Can't remember what it's called.
The company squadrons?
Yeah, the squadron. I have a squadron. I have a female row named Careless Whisper. So I learned how to play the riff on the saxophone, and I was just like following her around, like doing that, like like that. What other game would put such detail into this silly shit? Like, that's so great. You can literally be a bard by like, you could go around and like play music for people as like an actual bard, or you could set up these incredible performances. But yeah, like, damn, it's so cool. Like, they're just so considerate of all the different ways somebody might want to play the game. Like, there's no right way to do it.
You can run a casino like I do.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say.
It's definitely I am very excited as far as Dawn Trail is going on, and just been doing game crafters up to 90, doing stuff to get ready. I mean, is there anything for you, Garrett? Like, I mean, outside of MSQ stuff, because you guys will get there when you get there, but is there anything in particular that you would say is on your Final Fantasy XIV bucket list that you really want to get done before whatever the time comes that you decide to move on from the game?
Like a singular thing? No, not really. I'm dying to do Savages and Ultimates.
Yeah.
I know it will also be a time investment, and I know I won't enjoy it as much if I feel there were other things I could be doing so that I could more naturally exist within this community, which is like, not to get overly technical about it, but that's kind of how I feel like anytime I talk about like the speed at which we move through this game, I get a lot of concerns from folks that are really well-meaning. Like, hey, take it at your own pace. Don't rush, or on the opposite side of that is like, for love of God, could you please speed up a little bit? Which I get, I hear it. I absolutely hear it. And I understand where it's coming from. And for the people that are also like, hey, don't rush. And we're getting a little bit of that now that we're going faster through the patch content of Endwalker, is that at the end of the day, Kyle and I still, we do our best, even though we are trying to be entertaining and play through this game publicly. And there are just ways that impact your playthrough that you'd never worry about if you were playing it privately. But at the end of the day, we do still try and like gut check ourselves and be like, well, what do we want to do? What would make us happy? What would keep us enjoying this game? And so that's always kind of how we weigh these things. And that's why I haven't really pushed for us to go do a Savage yet, is because I'm like, Dawn Trail's right around the corner. And while I don't want to rush to get there, I don't want to not be able to be a part of that conversation, because I took a month or two to do some Savages because I'm not good at this game yet. So I know that's the kind of thing where I'm like, I will enjoy digging through Savages more if I think I'll enjoy it more if I'm at the end of Dawn Trail.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to the next Bozja stream whenever it happens.
Oh, yeah. Bozja and Eureka slap. They're so good. And I was dunking a little bit on like just the general feeling of Endwalker isn't as good as insert expansion here. Mm-hmm. But after trying the island sanctuary, I kind of get it a little bit. I'm like, oh, compared to Bozja or Eureka, this ain't it. This is not a replacement. I also want to take chances. But I'm not going to lie if I don't like it. And boy, that's a spreadsheet.
Variant dungeons were a success. Island Sanctuary, not as much.
Yeah.
You're probably I think Criterion is cool, but you're probably the first person to just kind of windmill slam variants are good.
I think variant dungeons are great.
I get the sense that they're quite contentious.
I think for me, and just from what I see in the community, part of the contention is that rewards across the board from, the variant through Criterion rewards are kind of lacking, and that there's not enough of a carrot on the stick. And I get that. For me, I'm one of those kind of people who I haven't done the Criterion stuff, but for me, I like the multiple paths. I like the mystery behind finding that hidden path and stuff. And for those who want to look for a guide on the web, that's there for them. For those who want to just figure it out, that's there for them too. I like that they're trying to do something different with dungeons that I hadn't seen other MMOs do. So I think that's kind of the appeal to me, is that that is different. Deep Dungeons kind of scratches that itch for me too, as far as like just doing something different with instance content. So I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff for sure. But before we go, Megan, Brandon, do either of you have any kind of question you want to fire at Garrett, as serious or as wacky as you want?
I was about to tell you to go first so I could have some time to think of one. Let me think here for a second. Okay, Garrett, what zone would you say is your sleeper favorite? One that doesn't get a lot of, discussion or talked about very favorably or even really at all, but one that you just found yourself absolutely adoring.
I feel like people loved it at the time, but I always go back to thinking fondly on the steppe. I have a lot of Stormblood love.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the steppe and that crazy city suspended in a bowl hanging in the distance. And just the different tribes around and the lore. I liked it all. There's a lot of side lore that kind of misses me. And I'm like, this isn't really for me. Or it isn't typically in my wheelhouse, and the lore of the steppe is not typically in my wheelhouse. But I was really into it, and I enjoyed like every minute of being out there. And it's so wildly subtle now compared to some of the shit that goes down in Shadowbringers and Endwalker.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that zone.
I will say, if you ever do get around to leveling your professions jobs, Stormblood's beast tribe that is concerned with crafting and gathering takes entirely place out there. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Sick.
It's a very interesting and fun one. That's all I'm saying about that.
Yep.
There are moments. Megan, anything for you?
Any thoughts on that? Hear me out, husbando.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Listen, I feel like if you shined up Louisoire's extended forehead enough, there's merit. There's merit to seeing yourself before you plant a kiss on his forehead.
Extended forehead. Oh my God, that's great.
I accept it. I don't think that's going to get too much fire back from the community. Yeah. I think you're safe with that one.
Just saying.
You might get some judgmental stares, but I think you're fine.
I just got to Pandemonium Wing 2, so before this, I probably would have said La Habrea, but now I don't think anyone would challenge me on that.
Yeah. All right. Well, Garrett, thank you so much for joining us for this. And thank you. And also, I'm sorry, but also thank you.
This was exactly what I needed after a day of streaming.
I'm very glad you feel that way. For those who are new to what you and Kyle do, if you want to take a moment to just say all the things on how they can find more of what you're up to and how they can just follow your adventures and all.
Oh, yeah. Just search for Grinding Gear on YouTube because YouTube won't let us change our URL. Just search for Grinding Gear. Just search for Grinding Gear on YouTube. You will find us. Look for the two dorky looking dudes. That's us. And my Twitter's at Garrett Art. Kyle's at Kyle Fergusson. We have a joint account for everything we do with Grinding Gear at Garrett and Kyle. There's 2 R's and 2 T's in Garrett. And if you want to go the extra step, we got a Patreon set up. There's a bunch of bonus content over there, a lot of bonus videos and whatnot. That's at supportourbromance.com. That's all of it.
All right. I think I've been a subscriber for closing in on 2 years, if not over 2 years. I'm up there. I've been following you guys since pretty early on in the Final Fantasy XIV adventure. So I mentioned the channel a few times before here. Highly recommend you guys check it out. It's a fun time all around.
You're a real life subscriber. I believe that's called friend.
Yeah, that too. It's definitely been awesome talking with you. It makes me a little sad that there is not a BlizzCon, or in place of BlizzCon, a Fan Fest coming soon to try and meet up.
We're going to be doing a Florida meetup in September. We don't have a hard date yet, but that's when we're looking for it. So, if you're itching for, you could, I tell folks, you just really want to go to Disney, just plan it in September and then maybe also come say hi. So
I do have an extra week of vacation time this year, my seniority with the company. So that's definitely something to think about for sure.
There it is.
Awesome.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Megan, where can people find you on the internet and all your stuff?
So I am Cat Mom Megan. That's all one word. Megan is spelled Meagan. Basically everywhere, on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on TikTok, and especially on Twitch, where I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm a VTuber. I designed and created my own VTube avatar of a cat lady. Literally is a cat person. And
it's just Makote through and through.
Well, it's legally distinct.
True. Fair enough. Yeah. Brandon, how about you?
I am the BMAT, THEBMATT, pretty much everywhere except, ironically, Twitch, which I have not streamed on in ages. But there you can find me at twitch.tv/oldmanfranks. I write over at yourquestlog.wordpress.com if you like hearing a guy ramble about D&D and Final Fantasy related things. If you want to, come check it out. I appreciate it. I'm also on a D&D podcast called +5 to Hit, where Ro is trying his darndest to drive us all insane or kill us. I'm not entirely sure which at the moment.
Oh, I can't wait for tonight's adventure.
Oh, yes. Should be interesting.
All right. As far as myself, no real active personal accounts right now, but you can follow the show on Blue Sky at A Podcast Reborn. You can always email us at apodcastreborn@gmail.com. And we are a part of Bonus World Productions. You can go to bonusworld.gg to find out more about that. No relation to Grinding Gear with that GG. That's just the address for Bonus World Productions. The theme music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. A link to his YouTube channel is in the show notes. Do check it out. And, of course, any derivative Final Fantasy music that you hear on this podcast belongs to Square Enix. No copyright infringement is intended. That is going to do it for episode 54. Our next episode will be in roughly 2 weeks, which will be our last episode before the launch of Dawn Trail. Planning to have a couple of our regular guests on. I'm sure Ward will be invited, and we may have one or two others as well, just to have kind of a roundtable hype fest. So another live letter will have been out just before that. So we'll just let the hype roar into a blazing inferno. Garrett, thank you once again. For Megan, for Brandon, for Garrett, and of course for Butterscotch and Bonbon. That's Megan's cats. This is Brian Black. Until next time, may your loot rolls be high, your glamour fantastic, and your duties always complete. Brandon?
Lady and gentlemen, I have a question to pose to you. What do you call two ninjas?
I don't know.
Well, it's not one ninja away from being a great 80s movie. It is, in fact, a pair of sneakers.
You've done better.
You have.
Oh, well, I tried.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Remember that we once heard Megan out.